All right, class, in the last video, we ended by saying that the very purpose of the Old Testament was to transform your thinking. So let's dig into that idea just a little bit. We have to understand that the Bible is a different kind of literature than what we're used to interacting with. See, reading the Bible is fundamentally a cross-cultural literary experience. One of the ways the Bible is so different than literature that we're used to is how it develops key themes and phrases, plot developments, and then it plays them out over and over and over in different ways with different characters throughout the pages of the scriptures. An example of this could be the concept of the eyes. This simple concept is used of Eve when she sees the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and then she takes it. Later, that same phrase or that same concept will be used of Lot when he sees the land that he wants, which eventually will lead him into his run-ins with Sodom and Gomorrah. The book of Judges will have a refrain throughout the whole thing that said that each one did what was right in his own eyes. And all of this echoing back to the original sin of Eve. Now, here's the point. There's no way that you would have recognized that the first time you read through the Bible. The Bible is written with a lot less detail than we're used to in stories. Instead of giving a long, drawn-out explanation in detail, it'll introduce a theme and then it'll replay that theme throughout the rest of the scriptures. And you're supposed to, in some way, see that the author is constantly riffing off of those previous themes in the Bible. Meaning, when each one does what is right in his own eyes in the book of Judges, we're supposed to, I believe, see that the author of Judges is riffing off of humanity's origin story all the way back in Genesis chapter 3. So the Bible's very literary design tells you that you need to read it over and over and over again throughout your entire life and slowly start to realize, you know what? I think there's something here with this eyes thing. I noticed that the biblical authors are using it over and over and over all over the place. Psalm 1 gives us a picture of the ideal Bible reader. We're going to read verses 1 and 2 together, and so feel free to take out a Bible and read along with me. Now, before I read Psalm 1, I want to make a little note about how we're going to be using or reading the Bible here in this class. I'd like you, if you can, to have a Bible out in front of you for every class. Now, when we open the Bible, there are going to be verses on the screen sometimes, but open your Bible, read along, write questions, whatever you need to do. I'll also be using the CSB for the most part. It's not that it's better or worse than any other Bible. There's so many great English translations out there. That's just the one I have here. You're welcome to use whatever English translation that you normally read the Bible in. So let's read verses 1 and 2 from Psalm 1. How happy is the one who does not walk in the advice of the wicked, or stand in the pathway with sinners, or sit in the company of mockers. Instead, his delight is on the Lord's instruction, and he meditates on it day and night. The ideal reader meditates on the Bible. He meditates on the Lord's commands day and night. And so what does it mean to meditate day and night? Does that mean that you have to have your Bible and you have to be reading it 24/7 and that's what it means to be a Christian? You see, the Hebrew word meditate, it has the idea of muttering or speaking quietly to yourself. It's actually the same word that you use of like a bear making noises when he's eating. The idea is that every day you are slowly reading the words of the Bible out loud to yourself, and then you go and you discuss them with your family, your friends, and for us, your church community. Now, this is the end of our first lesson in Old Testament survey. And I want you to kind of keep those videos filed away in the back of your mind. As we move through the class, you'll hear me referring to the Torah, the prophets, and the writings, or how we ought to read a book because it's part of the writings of the prophets. And if you get confused, just go back, watch that short video where we covered that. I'm looking forward to covering the rest of the Bible with you. Next lesson, we're going to jump into the world of Genesis 1 through 11. I'll see you all then.